This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. Anti-poverty activist and queer ally gets arrested for praying at the Capitol. Bishop William Barber and 2 others were arrested while praying in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda on Monday, April 28th, an action he said would be part of a recurring series of demonstrations aimed at challenging proposed Republican-led budget cuts to important services.
The arrest occurred about 15 minutes after Barber, the Reverend Jonathan Wilson-Hartgrove, and Steve Swayne, director of St. Francis Springs Prayer Center, started praying in the rotunda as police stood nearby. The 3 took turns praying, lamenting potential budget cuts to social safety net programs such as Medicaid, often chanting together, and I'm quoting, "Against the conspiracy of cruelty, we plead the power of your mercy," end quote.
After issuing verbal warnings, dozens of officers expelled everyone in the rotunda, including credentialed press, and shut the doors.
Barber, who struggles with medical challenges that make it difficult for him to stand or walk, told reporters, quote, "To think that we went in to pray against the budget, but to pray nonetheless. And the order now is that evidently, if you pray, you are seen as violating the rules of the rotunda. What we hope is that folks will see this and understand that this is the time now that we must engage in nonviolent, direct action to register our discontent," end quote.
Some have argued that Barber's arrest undermined Donald Trump's efforts to eliminate so-called anti-Christian bias in federal agencies.
University of Pennsylvania religion professor Anthea Butler said, and I'm quoting, "Arresting Reverend Barber and others at the Capitol after announcing a task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias in government is an absolute travesty. Seems like this administration only wants Christians who are supporters of Trump to have access to pray in the Capitol and express their faith," end quote.
Reverend Paul Rushenbush of Interfaith Alliance said, and I quote, "The arrest of Bishop Barber feels like the most clear example of hypocrisy of the Trump administration when they talk about anti-Christian bias. They are not interested in the broad expression of faith as exemplified by Bishop Barber, but rather only Christians approved of by the Trump administration," end quote.
It may be worth remembering that when Donald Trump was in his last days as the 45th president, he allowed, and many believe encouraged, a violent attack on our Capitol. Those who beat police officers, broke windows, defecated in the building, and threatened specific leaders by name were allowed their menacing mayhem for hours. And those who were sentenced for their brutality were pardoned by Trump 47. But a physically challenged man praying was arrested, handcuffed, and physically removed to spend time in a jail cell. The ordeal left him in pain, but it is unlikely that it will prevent him from continuing his ministry of justice. Well, I just have to say that Rauschenbusch said it, the professor from Penn said it, and it's obvious. This isn't about the preservation, the protecting of religion. This is about religious liberty. This is about weaponizing religion in the service of white Christian nationalist agenda. This is using religion for nefarious purposes, which has been done throughout history. But this is, if this were really about faith, then you could walk in with a Quran in your hand, or a rosary, or whatever, but that's not what it is. No, it's not. If you're not using religion to defend guns, to control women, to erase and silence LGBTQ people, then it's not real religion in their eyes. They don't get to be the ones to make that decision, but they're acting like it, and enough people are supporting them that this is just one more tool in their oppressive game plan.
I just want to say kudos to Bishop Barber. He and others are taking a stand against these Republican actions, and a whole lot more people, Democrats, Republicans, everybody, people of faith, need to follow his lead.
Bishop Barber is continuing what he started long ago and continued during the last State of the Union address. He spent time during that State of the Union address with his own address to America. So Bishop Barber is not new to this. His message is always clear. He's always going to come out in favor of those who are being oppressed. And when we're talking about being oppressed, we're talking about anyone who does not have the nationalistic agenda of this administration. These are the people that they want to silence as quickly as possible.
You know, I think Bishop Barber has been in a long line of people who followed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.,
Yes.
who has picked up on the mantle of change. We must continue to work to break down the systems of oppression that is holding people back. And this Rotunda action is just a simple reminder that we have to be, we are called forth to be the witness to this call to justice. Justice action, just love, and speaking out for people who cannot speak out for themselves. I think Bishop Barber's action, I remember the first time I saw Bishop Barber, it was several years ago. We was in the Lorraine Hotel. And he came out on the balcony.
In Memphis,
in Memphis. With I just remember watching him, and it was
the anniversary.
The anniversary of Dr. King's death, and it was Bishop Barber, of course, Jesse Jackson, and some others who was there. But I just remember looking at him for a moment and thinking, you know, that may be the future where we're going. Just remembering his speech, and I think this is a reminder that we have to take our calls to the seat of power.
Yes.
To the seat that represents all the people, and not just those who want to only represent a section of the people. We have to take it there. We have to take the fight to them because their fight is all about oppression.
Yes.
And we have to remind them that we are people who will not be oppressed.
We shall not be moved.
This is the United States of America, not the United States of any particular one party.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around.
Keep on.
No, it is the truth that this is a dangerous moment in American history. It's not the first. It's not even exactly the worst, but it's the worst since the blacklist days, and which the McCarthy days, which sort of intersected with Jim Crow, the last days of Jim Crow. So it's the worst since then, I think. And although some people will tell us, well, some of you think it's the worst because it's the first time you've experienced it.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Other communities are like, oh, this is another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Deja vu.
But maybe this time we'll all notice, we'll all work together, we'll defeat it again, and this time permanently. But it won't happen if we don't atone for how we've been complicit all along.
Right.
Maybe this time I'll win. Well, that's today for the Queer Gods.